I ran up a check, I might do it again. Enemies close, had me thinking they're friends. 10 toes down, I'll be free until the end. Crib outside the city, I don't feel safe in my hands. Took so many years, I'm just waiting for the wins. I'm in debt to no one but the one who took my sins. I do it for real, there's no reason to pretend. If I do it once, I do it again. Add it up, bankroll, euro, peso, add it up, I'm just doing me, everything is on me.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Spot Real Talk. My name is Tiara.
I'm LaWanda.
I'm Tiffany.
And I'm Ron.
And today we are back to talk about Force. This is the newest show from the Power universe featuring Joseph Sikora. And we are going to talk about episode 2 today, titled King of the Goddamn Hill. So we'll be right back after this. Like I said, we're talking Force. Tommy is in Chicago. He has made his mark and he is making alliances this week. It seems kind of like we predicted. You know, we kind of thought that he might start making some alliances there. He's going to need to. It's kind of out of necessity. So this week we see that Tommy has another interaction with his brother. And it's interesting to me that JP kind of called up Tommy first. And I guess Tommy had that same feeling, like, of everybody, I'm the first person you call. And so JP's bar / lounge has been shot up. And it seems like it happens often. This might be like the third time. And so JP calls Tommy, and it seems like Tommy comes in offering money. And it didn't seem like JP was really after that. And I think that I don't know how to feel about it. Because later in the episode, we see Tommy offer JP money again, but he declines it. And so I'm like, what's JP's angle? Like, is he really, trying to build a brotherhood with Tommy? Or is he kind of turning down the money so that he can gain Tommy's trust and make it seem like that's not what I'm about? Is he a snake? Like, I'm still trying to feel him out. But we kind of got some more background about JP, and he reveals that he has an ex-husband that won't answer his calls, and he has a son who he hasn't seen in 14 years. The son is now 16. And so it's like all of this stuff that we're kind of learning about JP, and I'm still just kind of wondering what his motives are. Did you guys have any feeling about that? Because I'm still not sure about him.
I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. And I mean, I don't want to jump too far ahead, but when we saw the gun that shot up the bar and everything, later it was revealed to who that gun belonged to. The young brother with the dreads, that's one of Diamond and Jannard's hitters. Well, yeah. Jannard's hitter, not Diamond. And I just put 2 and 2 together, and I'm assuming that he is JP's son.
And I think that's a good assumption to make. It seems logical. But then it's really like, okay, why? Like, is there a reason why this particular bar keeps getting shot up?
Mm-hmm. But he told Tommy, or Tommy assumed that he wasn't paying protection. Right. And so I think we saw in the first episode that it looks like the cops were shaking down the business owners on the block to offer protection. So is this something that Jannard is also doing with the young hitters, that if they don't, they'll offer protection if you pay them, and if not, they hit the store? I mean,
that could be it.
And I think in your earlier question, when you said just trying to figure out who JP is, I just think he's a straight guy, wants to play it by the books. He happens to be in a bad place, but he wants to make something good of it. So, and I think with Tommy coming into his life, offering that kind of cash, particularly in a role, you do question where the money comes from. And, yet again, he puts, I don't know how many thousands of dollars on the table when he gets to his home. I guess you got to question that, but it's a, it'll be interesting to find out what that does to JP. Does it make him a different person? Does he join Tommy, or does he, try to exclude him out of his life because he doesn't want to get involved in whatever Tommy's involved in?
Yeah, I was wondering that too, because he mentioned that he's in like debt over the father's medical bills and stuff like that. And he doesn't seem like he is in that lifestyle where he would be selling drugs or anything, but desperation will move people to do some things. So you never know. But I'm just wondering, like, it seems like Tommy is being like very friendly, like right off the jump. And I don't know if that's to make up for lost time. But we know that Tommy is not a super trusting person usually, like right off the jump with strangers. So it's just interesting to me that he's kind of putting himself out there like that with this brother.
No, because Tommy wants family.
Yeah.
I know
the
that.
thing is, because think of how he was when Teresi came out, because it was Ghost that was like, hold on, you don't trust him and stuff. And he had issues with Ghost saying that, because it was his dad. And so he was really, when it came down to the family, he was really like, oh wow.
He's all in.
And with JP, I saw the parallels with they say in the description that JP is a musician, and that's his jazz club. It made me think about Ghost, because Ghost's father had a club and everything. And they said one of the reasons that Ghost's father was killed was because he didn't want the drug dealers on the block and stuff, and he called the cops on them. That's what Uncle Gabe said. And that got Ghost's father killed. So it same thing. It reminded me of JP. I'm like, he has his club. They shooting up his spot. I think he might be just a musician. I don't think he's a street guy for real. We'll see, but I don't think so.
Yeah, I'm wondering how that pans out. And I don't know, JP showed him the video of him and like Tommy and Kate when at an earlier age. And I think that, like you said, Tommy is very hungry for a family. He wants that and he likes the bond, but I still think it's just so crazy to me that you're all in, you're my brother. I'm gonna make sure you straight. I'm throwing you thousands of dollars, no questions asked. And I'm just like, Tommy, I love that he wears his heart on his sleeve and that he's loyal and he really looks out for those people that are his family. But I still think it's too early.
I think he's going to find out how good it is to be the brother of Tommy, because if Tommy ever finds out who shot that club up, they won't be doing it again. I can tell you that now.
Yeah, Tommy likes doing favors,
Do you also think it's the way he met him, that JP met him, didn't know who he was? So it's not, at least as far as we can tell, know of his reputation and who he is and where he's coming from. And also Tommy kind of recognizing that he needs some allies in the city. He's new to the city. He needs to have some kind of friendships or alliances so he understands how the city works.
That's true. That could be it, yeah.
And I think that alliance came from too, the tag that they had. Tommy had it on the picture, but JP had it on his arm. So I think that was the key to bringing the family together for Tommy. Like you said, Tiffany, he's so hungry for family. He's willing to do whatever he needs to do for JP. And I kind of like that. I just hope JP doesn't ruin it, by just being, the straight thing. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing to be straight. I'm just saying you need to help. Tommy's there to help you. Take it. Take the help.
I think, I'm still wondering about that. I don't know. I'm just always so suspicious of people. So.
And maybe I'm wrong for thinking this, that, I guess I can't say that because I can't say that about me, but it's like when you kind of grow up around certain environments, you may not rock with everything, but people, right? And you know how to get things done. And so you may not be heavily involved, but you still know, especially if you're operating a business, you're not that far from things that are going on the criminal side or underground side of things. So he may not be completely clean, is what I'm saying.
Right. Right. And so, like, something else I seen in this episode, we seen how last week Tommy came to Chicago and caused this big storm in the city. And so this week he kind of is making good. Last week he gave the bag back to Flynn. And then this week he's going back to Diamond and Jannard and giving them their drugs back. And so it's kind of like he's allowing people to see how he moves and let them know his motivations. Like, I'm not that kind of guy. I don't rob people, do petty thefts and stuff like that. And so it seems like Jannard is kind of like shocked that he had the audacity to come back after that. But Diamond is kind of like, okay, like real recognized, real type situation. And so there, you mentioned this earlier that Jannard has hired these young hitters and they don't really take orders from Diamond. And it's kind of, it seems insulting to him because he put that whole organization together. And, you know, he was talking to Tommy in the car about thinking it was a bad idea to have the young boys as a part of the crew. But Tommy and him kind of reminisced on like the way things used to be back in the day. And so Diamond and Tommy have like this mutual respect for each other and a respect for order and how things are structured, you know, in that game. Yeah. Whereas Jannard seems like he's a loose cannon. He does what he wants to do. He does things his way. And so I see that friction between the brothers, but I see the mutual respect between Tommy and Diamond.
And you know why Tommy gravitates towards him? Because Diamond reminds him of Ghost.
Ghost, yes.
Because Diamond like thinks things through. You can tell that he's like, you know, he's steady like how Ghost was. Like Ghost was cerebral and stuff. And you can see that with Diamond. And so Tommy naturally gravitates towards that.
And you can, and even still, it's a good point too, because when Diamond learned that Jannard was, you know, they were waiting, the kids were waiting on Jannard's word to not pop Tommy. And, you know, and even when, Diamond looked back, he didn't say anything. He just looked at Jannard. And it's almost like he said, I'm gonna put this in my pocket and table this for another day, because there's gonna be some problems because Jannard, because you know, Diamond wants to do this another way. And I think the introduction with Tommy and Diamond is a good introduction, because the two of them coming together is gonna be Ghost and Tommy all over again.
They make a really good team. You got to see how they were snatched up by Rojas's team. So he finally made his move.
A la Lobos.
Yeah.
Jason has done it to them, and Lobos has snatched them up like that.
Yeah. So they get snatched up. And it's kind of like, I really liked how, you know, Diamond showed that he was a man of integrity also. Like, he could have left Tommy there with them and been like, F it, I'm gonna go do my thing. But he was like, you know, I'm gonna look out. Like, if I'm leaving, he's coming with me. And so like, it kind of showed a sense of like loyalty. Like, he is that type of guy. It's letting people know what kind of cloth you cut from. And so Tommy had already done that early in the episode by returning the drugs. And now you see Diamond doing it when he's looking out for Tommy. By getting him in his mess and making sure that he makes it out. And so they go on this big mission to get Rojas's drugs sold in 3 hours, but then Jannard ends up getting snatched up. So it's kind of like, even though Jannard thinks he's the man, he could still be touched, and he doesn't seem to realize that.
Well, I was hoping that situation would have educated him a bit, but it doesn't, you know, because he wants to hire these little youngsters that don't know, you know, S for Shinola. And all they're going to do is just make a mess of things. And I was hoping that he would have a change of heart, but he's not, because, you know, he just wants to be kingpin, and they don't understand. I don't think they truly understand the game and the game's mission. You know, you got to play the whole game. It's about the police. It's about the drugs. It's about who you hire. You know, it's not just about power. You know, power means nothing if you don't know how to handle it.
Yeah. So I don't know. Jannard, I think, like I said, that he thinks he's bigger, and, you know, he thinks he's better off than he is. He thinks that he can do things his way and on his own. And Diamond kind of mentioned, like, I've been looking out for him his whole life. And it seems like the only reason why he kind of been skating by as easily as he has been, because he's always had Diamond as his backup, whether he wants to recognize that or not. But in the end, like, all of these things, they ended up getting the drugs sold, and they end up getting Jannard back. but we get to see how Tommy and Diamond work as a team and how their dynamics are. And especially when the cop came through harassing Diamond, you could tell that he has like a kind of like PTSD from dealing with law enforcement. Like they almost got pulled over once, and then Tommy had to like tell him to relax, because he was like about to like start hyperventilating at the wheel driving Tommy's car. But then it happened again when he was just sitting over on the side of the street, pulled over, and got harassed for no good reason. So
But
it's like he really has an issue with law enforcement.
But you can understand why. I mean, this dude just got out of jail. You know, he's trying to do things right, and he's driving somebody else's car. He don't know. We don't know what's in the car. And then when the white cop pulls up on him, and immediately starts to break it down, harass him.
And also Chicago is still segregated too.
Exactly. And so that cop was just looking for a reason to shoot him. And like he said, I'm not taking my hands off this wheel. I'm not trying to go get out of the car, because you just looking for a reason to pull that trigger. And then Tommy comes out, hey bro, what's up?
Yeah.
You know,
and it kind of reminded me of PowerBook 2 with Tariq and Braden. Like Braden is that white privilege.
The white privilege.
And so in this case, it's Tommy, and you kind of see how Tommy is able to just skate through the situation. And it's kind of like, I hate that it's like that. But it's the reality of the situation that sometimes, I mean, that white privilege really does allow you to skate through certain situations.
And you know what? Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was just going to say it's kind of like triggering for us when we see those lights. It's a different feeling that shoots through our body than when they see the lights. And yeah,
well.
I was going to say the thing that was amazing to me is that Tommy let somebody else drive that car.
But he had gotten stabbed.
Yeah, we should have hit that first. That was the first thing on my mind. Like
I was like, but that Mustang, like he remember he didn't even want Kate to drive that,
right?
And stuff. He was like, you blew up, you know how Tommy feels about that car. So I was like, he let Diamond drive it.
Right, but he was also going to be the person that was doing the deal, so he needed a driver.
Well, I mean, he could have drove, jumped out of the driver's seat, made the deal. But I think that's a marker too. That's really telling us something, though, Tiff. That's telling us. That's telling us that camaraderie that they're going to have. Because that's his pride and joy. You see it in the. We know how he was with it in Power. And then he even mentioned it to that female drug lord, when he went into the warehouse,
the body shop,
the body shop, he says, I got a 1969 Mustang, and she's like, who cares? But
nobody cares. Right. That was hilarious.
Yeah, but you're right about the camaraderie there, because after they finish with the deal and they get Jannard back, Tommy had called Diamond by his real name during the cop arrest. I mean the cop interaction. And so Diamond, he's kind of like, you call me by my real name. Like, how did you know that? And so you could tell that Diamond is paying attention to Tommy, paying attention to him. And so he's like, I know you did some research. You see my barber's license or whatever. You know my name. You know something about me. And I noticed how you was clocking us on the routes, like paying attention to every detail. And he was kind of like, okay, so are you going to be like, is this something you're going to pursue?
Yeah, he's like, you clocking our city?
Yeah. And so I think that he was feeling him out to see if he's going to be competition, but more so if they could continue to work together, I think. Because I believe they do like each other.
Oh yeah, I think it's the latter too. I think that was just a roundabout way of trying to determine whether I can work with you or whether we can work with one another to get to that end.
Yeah.
Because initially I didn't think Diamond wanted to have anything to do with the drugs again once it came out. But I think by meeting Tommy, I think he sees another way of getting it done and not being out there like Jannard, Jannard.
Yeah.
He wants to break off from that. And
because Jannard is too impulsive. I think that having the young boys is a liability, and Jannard doesn't think things all the way through. The city is already swarming with cops, and they doing this kind of hot stuff that brings attention to them. Exactly. And so he's seeing the way Tommy is moving, and he's like, this is the better partner, really. Exactly. And so I think he was trying to feel like, was this like a one-time thing, or can this continue to work out? And so when Tommy, oh, go ahead, Lawanda.
No, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt.
I was just gonna say when Tommy went and got his revenge on Rojas's people, putting them in the trunk and setting it on fire, and then Tommy just kind of walks by with the guy's the scarf and kind of like waves it up like, yeah, I got him. You owe me one. So I'm like, that was really like, I like how Tommy moves because he's gonna do something that's gonna make you owe him. But I was just thinking, I really hope that they continue to work together. I hope there's no friction between Diamond and Tommy because I like them as a team.
I do too.
I think the friction is going to come between Tommy and Jannard because
Yes.
if nothing else, Tommy is smart and he also learned from Ghost about the way that you separate the businesses. So it's one thing to have the young boys. It's another thing to have the young boys around the barbershop, which is a legitimate front.
And in
so,
Go ahead. I was just going to say, it kind of reminded me of Kane in that situation where Kane wants to be number one and he is kind of like doing what he has to do to get that position. I think Jannard is kind of like the same, where he's impulsive and he wants that top spot and he'll do anything to get it.
Well, Jannard is really saying, I have the top spot because you've been in jail for
10 years.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I'm subtly giving you the nod that the top spot really belongs to me. And,
right.
And I think with Diamond is just trying to figure things out. But I agree with you, Lawanda, that the challenge is going to be with Tommy and Jannard, because Jannard was responsible for those boys putting that gun on Tommy. And Tommy don't like that, and he don't forget. Tommy's an elephant when it comes to forgetting. He doesn't forget nothing. So I'm waiting to see what trunk those two boys will belong in. And will Jannard be in that trunk with him?
Well, check this out. There's going to be another wrinkle because D-Mac, the young brother with the locks, is where I was going earlier.
Mm-hmm.
That is JP's son.
Yeah.
Therefore, he is Tommy's nephew.
Yeah.
So Tariq was always his nephew, his godson and stuff like that. So you're going to see another dynamic there that's going to make him probably be protective.
Yeah, because D-Mac is going to have a dilemma where he's going to have to figure out where his loyalty lies, whether it lies with Jannard and running with his crew, or whether it's going to be with Tommy and the family, unit there. So I can see that.
It's totally
Tommy's gonna have to look out for him,
It's totally up to D-Mac, because I'm gonna tell you right now, I think once he finds out, or because so far we don't know, but I think once he finds out that JP is his father, I think that he's gonna have a decision to make. Is he gonna? But then
we're assuming that he doesn't know that, though. Those are the three questions I have. Does he know that's his dad? No. Or number two, if he knows this as his dad, is it an issue that he thinks that his dad abandoned him? Or number three, does he have an issue with him because of sexuality? It could be just what you say, Ron, because maybe he just doesn't know that it's him.
And maybe it seemed like whoever the mother is of JP's son, she is definitely trying to keep him away from JP. And so the situation there is probably very tumultuous. And I don't think that she would be the type that would reveal the identity of the son. She seemed like she probably wanted to keep him away. So I don't think that he knows that that's his father.
Yeah, but he better come to the right conclusion, because if Tommy and Diamond hook up, now you got two problems. You got Jannard and you got D-Mac, and you got those young boys too. So that's a problem that will have to be rid of. You're going to have to get rid of it. And I think getting rid of, it's hard, because you get rid of Jannard, you still got, everything else. So it's
and I also seen that Jeremiah, he does the theme song on the show, and he's on the show as Elijah. So I like how they're incorporating the Chicago talent into the show. And it's like very authentic to Chicago, like the scenery and everything, even as you go. I like Tommy's new spot. It's typical
Okay.
Tommy, you know, he loves those kind of industrial buildings with the open
loft.
floor plans, the
Yeah.
loft style.
Nice
Mhm.
spot too, by the way. Nice spot.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, Tommy, he got like himself set up nicely. So he's definitely planning to stay there and stake a claim on the city.
And the new love interest.
Yeah, so
Which is, I wonder, I'm like, is she gonna make it? Because you know Tommy's love interest don't fare well. And I would like to see her make it.
and Vic seen her kissing him this
Yeah.
week. So it's like
Being a stalker.
She ain't long. She ain't long for the TV world because, you know, I don't see Vic trying to take out Tommy just yet. But, you know, the mere fact that Vic went in and asked her, is there another guy? And she said no.
mhm.
And then he turns around and sees her with Tommy. Tommy of all people.
But technically there isn't another guy because
Right.
at that point in time she thought he was gone out of town. Like he said he wasn't staying.
Not according to eyes. The eyes have
But
it.
later on he seen that.
That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. So the fact that he saw Tommy in there, he's gonna think she was lying to him the whole time.
Right.
So I don't believe she's long for the TV world. She's gonna be done.
Vic is a
Yeah.
punk though.
Yeah, he is.
He might do something to her. But
And really, and when you stop to think about it, what she said to him, it makes sense. I mean, like she said, your father is going to want you to marry a certain type of woman,
Mm-hmm.
bloodline going and yada, 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 yada. She says, I don't fit in that. And
Mhm.
why are you trying to pretend like it's not going to matter?
we
Because
talking about we gonna run away. I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, he a punk.
And his father already let him know, like whether I'm dead or alive, those
You can
people
be
back
touched.
in Ireland expect certain things from you.
Exactly.
And so you can't change things up and do it your way.
Exactly.
Not in your relationships, not in your business, not in anything. So I'm gonna have control over you, whether I'm alive or in the grave.
The
And
only
we see
body-
that he's sick too.
Right.
And the only person that doesn't realize that is Vic. So, you know, I don't know. Maybe two of them aren't long for the TV world. I don't know.
I
Yeah.
think as we watch the shows, the archetypes become very clear. So you
Mhm.
have the inept son, or you have the jealousy between the brothers, or you have the partners, be they marital partners or business partners who are not quite on the same page.
Yep.
And so I think as we get to this particular series, it's becoming very apparent. I'm interested to see how they flip it.
Mhm.
You know, because not that we're starting to see the same thing over, because I think that's all shows. I think they follow these certain archetypes and rules when they're developing series, particularly if they're drug related series. It's kind of like they all follow the same pattern, even like this week with you have to get the money, you have to sell the drugs. We keep seeing that. So I'm interested to see how they're going to flip it and make it something that's unique just to this show, just to
Mhm.
Force.
Do they have a
Yeah.
time? They write, sometimes you can write yourself in a corner. And
No, I think the characters are interesting enough. But you wonder where they're gonna go with this. So if the father is sick, is he gonna be sick for 8 years? Is he gonna find a miracle cure? Is his
Right.
death gonna spur something else?
I wonder if he's gonna make it through the season for real.
Yeah, is he gonna make it through? Is Vic gonna make it through the season? Because I could very easily see him not, and then that starts kind of a war between the daughter and Tommy, you know?
Right.
So I'm just kind of interested to see how they can flip it, because I think we see this a lot across the shows, but when you have a universe of series that are kind of all dealing with the same issue, it could easily fall into the trap of repeating it. Same storyline, different characters, same storyline, different characters, different city. And that would make it somewhat predictable. So that's one of the things that I thought about this, because I could see, well, this son is like, you know, Cain, or the same issues that, you know, the brothers are having, Jannard and Diamond are having, are the same issues that Ghost and Tommy had initially.
Well, I think with Claudia and Vic, you could definitely see that Victor wants his independence from his father. And you can see also that Claudia wants her independence. She wants to start marketing a new drug because she basically called the father's drug like outdated. She wants to bring something new to the market that's unique and catchy. And of course she gets shut down. But the dynamic between Claudia and Vic reminds me of Diego and Alicia Jimenez, because
I thought so
Alicia
too.
was the brains of the operation. You know,
Mhm.
she really had the foresight and she was the mastermind of the situation. Diego was just the muscle. And I kind of see that with Vic and Claudia, because Vic is not really thinking, he's not a forward thinking person. And Claudia seems like she's the visionary. So I seen that connection. And, you know, speaking of the Jimenez,
I was going to say the same thing.
because we seen Liliana. Liliana was a character that we seen, if you go back to the original Power series, first episode, season 1, episode 1, she was the girl that got attacked in the elevator by pink shoes.
Mhm.
And so she was allowed to live, but we find out in this series that she escaped to Chicago, and she has this run-in with Tommy where she's kind of like, I'm gonna get you before you get me. She thinks he's there to kill her. When we later find out Tommy didn't even know anything about her being in Chicago at all, but they have this big brawl and he breaks through her floor and finds the drugs with the
Jimenez card.
yeah, the Jimenez card. And so he's like, oh, okay, I see who you rolling with. And so it's an opportunity for Tommy.
So do you think he should be working with her? I mean, I think she should have taken her out when he had the chance. I don't trust her, and I certainly don't trust her with Tom.
That's one of the things that he said too. He was just like, every time Ghost, let somebody go instead of kill him, it always comes back to bite us.
Yep.
Exactly.
And I think that he's going against his better judgment by dealing with her, because, in the previews for next week, you can see him talking about working with her. And she's kind of like, well, I'm on the side of money. So it seems like they're going to be working together. And I'm like, I don't know, Tommy.
No, I don't either, because it puts him back into that old problem with Jimenez group. So, do you really want to run back to that? I don't feel it. I'm not feeling that hookup. But then again, it's another way of getting them out of the Flynn, operative. So I don't know. It's damned if you do, damned if you don't. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm interested to see who's running Jimenez now, that because Diego and Alicia are gone. So I'm like, who's running it?
Yeah.
Right.
That might
some other family member.
Yeah, it could make the difference. I mean, I can see the transition from Flynn, over to this group, and then bringing it, and then he having his own connect for Chicago, but to me, it's gonna be a lot of firepower going on.
Listen, the Serbs are still in Chicago too, because that's where Jason and Milan were from too. So we haven't even seen the Serbs yet, but I'm sure we will.
Yeah. It seems like Tommy has a lot of options right now, because he can link up with Diamond and work with him. He kind of like when he talked about clocking the route, the chick at the body shop, she was like, how can I find you, basically? And he was like, I know where to find you. So it seems like she's interested in dealing with him as well. And then, of course, he has Flynn on the sideline, and now, the situation with Liliana and the Jimenez. So Tommy got options,
But
he seems to know how to find connections to get what he wants.
But he doesn't want a boss either. And, so it's going to be interesting how he can get what he needs to get to be who he wants to be.
I don't think it's necessarily him trying to be under anybody else's leadership. I think he's trying to figure out who would fit in his crew. And it seems like all of the people that he's discovering are like the plug. So he's got direct links to multiple plugs.
Soldiers. He needs soldiers too. I mean, because it can't just be him. He needs soldiers as well.
Yeah. So I think he's trying to peep the scene and figure out like who would be the best fit. Like, if I'm trying to run this, I'm going to need a team. So who can I bring on? And I think that's why he sees Liliana. She was already accustomed to being on somebody's team, and she doesn't seem like she has any allegiance to the Jimenez necessarily if she's willing to work with Tommy. So I think that he's like, you might be more useful to me alive than dead.
Makes sense, but I don't know.
Listen, she was a good runner for them in the beginning. The only thing that reason why she became a liability is because they thought she was going to, because she got slashed.
Right.
Yeah, she wasn't seeming like she was going to do very well in terms of because it's recognizable once you have that scar on your face. you now have a mark that distinguishes you, and you're not so, incognito anymore.
Well,
So
she did say she thought that that Tommy was coming after her because she heard that Tommy, person was in town that drove this type of car, and she put two and two together and figured, I better get Tommy before Tommy gets me. So, I mean, I guess there could be some alliance there once they figure out that, hey, nobody's trying to kill anybody here. We just need to work together. So there could be some alliance. I just don't know.
Mm-hmm. Well, I enjoyed this week's episode. I thought it was good, and I definitely loved the dynamic with Diamond and Tommy. So I'm looking forward to seeing where that relationship goes. And then, like I said, I still got my eye on JP. I'm still not too sure about him, but we're gonna see. And if you look for the previews next week, Claudia is promoting her new drug to Tommy. So it seems like maybe I don't know how that run-in happens, because so far I don't think Claudia has met Tommy. So Tommy and Vic are also like on some kind of mission together, going to some guy's house. And I'm like, if Vic is still bringing Tommy along or seemingly working with him under some guys, and he knows that Tommy has been messing around with Gloria, it seems like he's kind of like tucking all this information in his pocket to use against Tommy at a later point, but working with him for the time being. So that's going to be like an interesting dynamic where there's that partnership, but still jealousy in the mix. And then, of course, Flynn is telling Tommy like he's not used to people not listening to him. And Tommy's like, I guess it's good that I'm not one of your men then.
Right.
So I really love how Tommy is like so witty, and he has like the comic side that he brings to the episodes. So I'm enjoying it. I'm looking forward to seeing where all of these new characters take us, all of this new information that's been revealed, and some of the old characters from the original Power that have creeped back into the storyline. So I thought it was great. And I can't wait to see how it unfolds. Do you guys have anything else you want to add before we close out?
Wanda, I think you were about to say something a little earlier.
Oh, no, I was just thinking JP keeps mentioning his father, and his father is sick. So I wonder if we're going to get introduced to his father, and how significant would that be? And then he also took Tommy to the house that's just sitting there. So I'm wondering if something's going to come up with that later too. The grandmother's house.
Yeah, but that's interesting because Tommy, I wonder if he's well enough for Tommy to have a conversation with him. Maybe he'll find out some more stuff about his mother, Kate.
Yeah, and I can't wait for Kate to make her appearance in this show. That's going to be funny. And I wonder if JP ever gets introduced to her at some point and what that conversation looks like. So that would definitely be interesting to see when he confronts her for being an absent mother. Yeah, so that's a good point. But guys, got anything else? Nope. All right, well, to our viewers out there, thank you so much for watching. Please make sure you drop down in the comment section and let us know what you thought about this episode. Also, like this video, subscribe to our channel, and click the notification bell so that you get alerted every time we post. We also just did our Ozark recap for episodes 3 and 4 of the most recent season. So go and check that out. And make sure you continue to follow us. We have a lot of great stuff in the queue. So we are steady working on getting you guys some great content and continuing to bring you guys great interviews and features and things like that. Please make sure that you also let us know if you would like to participate in the show. We love having our guest spotters on. And so we haven't had any for Force yet. So that's always nice to get the viewers' interpretation of this new show. So let us know if you'd like to join us. And just make sure that you continue to stick with us. We got plenty of good stuff coming, like I said.
I forgot. I want to shout out J Moore Reviews because he plays Rojas on Force.
Yeah, so, you got to interact with him with Lamont, right?
Yeah, Ron and I were on Lamont's Snowfall panel last year and stuff, and he was on it too and stuff. So, kudos to him.
Okay. And look. You know what? Now that you said Rojas, I think I got one more prediction, because Rojas got 2 of his hitters killed by Tommy. And I think that, maybe Rojas takes that out on Diamond and continues to target him in the future. So Tommy might have created a storm for Diamond that he didn't intend.
I thought that. That was one thing I said to myself. And I was like, okay, he just made a bigger issue. I mean, he took care of them, but he made a bigger issue.
You're right. So that's a good one. I'm looking out for that as well. But I think we're going to call it a night now. It's the big day. Big game comes on later. So I think we all getting ready for that. Looking forward to that halftime show where we get to see Mary, aka Monet.
Monet.
I got my beer and I got my food, so I'm gonna be fine.
Yes, indeed. So thank you guys so much for sticking with us, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Out of touch with my feelings, stress and appearances. Feeling more solid about who the man in the mirror is. I reach for hearts through the speaker box to connect with strangers. Painting the page with the language, but off the mic I barely speak it all. I seldom see a flaw, bitch, I need it all. Shook by the way life is lately. I feel the earth pirouette, I'm dazed like I'm seeing stars. Got them all on the wave, it's more than just words to a page. Just feel like I'm hosting a read-along, and I speak in tongues. No translation, I'm out the bottle, I'm grieving, leaving the beat needed CPR. I'm disconnected, I feel the pressure, I need acceptance. I'm from the crevice, where all my homies on something special. They subtle